Hello and welcome to Kiddick Farms. We're back with another episode of UMRV Upper Mississippi River Valley, and I have been hauling stuff around the farmyard here off camera. It has been a little bit exhausting, but we're getting there. I am in the fourth week of October. We did move the clock forward just a little bit off camera, but I wanted to save the big month turnover for doing in the episode, even though really I think the next thing we're going to have to do is fast forward to spring, but a lot's going to happen when we do that. One of the upgrades I did make is we've upgraded to this big tanker here, which has come from 82 Studios. And yes, I do have the unrealistic capacity on here, which is just shy of 130,000 gallons, I think. And the reason for that is, well, frankly, we've got so much slurry that, as you can see, I'm just starting to make a dent in hauling all of this over here to the BGA that we've got running. We've been keeping the animals full on feed, and I did go ahead while I was in editing XML files and I moved the, I don't know, 60,000 something liters of hay we had in one of these barns into our silage setup here, the fermenting silo, so that we're going to be able to kind of keep things moving. If I look at the production chain menu, we made two changes here. One is I sped this up a little bit more. It's keeping up now, I think. I'm not sure. You can see we're running at 1,200 cycles a month now. We've kept all the stats the same, so it's not like I'm getting more product or more money for my slurry to digestate and energy conversion. It's just doing it faster, and I feel like this is an easy change that I don't feel too bad about. And then over here on our fermenting silo, unfortunately, I copied the update from the newest version of the map over here because it allows bales to go in now, but in doing that, I didn't realize it was going to get rid of all of the displays of the other material types that it can show, even though they don't technically produce from one thing to the other. They were all listed in here, and it was nice to be able to see how much I have in at a glance, and we have lost that ability to see that data now. Unfortunate, but the materials are still in here, and I'm able to put them in and get them out still, so I'm not too worried about it. It's just going to be kind of a pain because we're going to have to look at it with the mixer wagon under the spout as opposed to looking at it from the menus. The other thing that we have completed is we've got all of the drilling done out here in this field for our grass. We're going to have lots of hay now, which is great, and that should really alleviate our bale problem here in the spring, and the fact that I can put those bales directly into the harvest stores to start mixing up the feed is going to make life a lot easier as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get this equipment brought up to the farm here, and I think we're actually ready to start moving the clock forward. I'm going to get that ticking, and we'll bounce back in here as we move past midnight, and we'll take a look at the financial situation. I guess the other thing I did off camera when I moved forward from the last day is we paid off a bunch of the leased equipment with the money we got. We're going to do that same thing here again when we tick over to midnight this evening. So we'll take a look at the remaining leased equipment in just a second. So here we are ticking past midnight. Now, as you can see, we've got about $2,500 in loan interest, $3,200 in vehicle leasing costs, and then these other two small fees are just all of the buildings and such that we've got, the production costs, etc. Nothing very high. It's all negligible. And yeah, 5,000, a little bit more in a day tick over is practically nothing compared to the amount of money we're making selling our dairy. And once again, a reminder, since we installed the enhanced animal mod, only one of our 3 barns of cows are currently producing milk, so we're going to see a much higher production rate here soon. Let me just jump in here. So this barn is not yet producing milk now. We've got just a smidge more to go. The puberty line has been kind of extended. We're definitely not producing it in this one yet, and then this set of cows, we're going to start seeing a dip in production, I think, on some of these. The months since last birth is now affecting our milk production, so it kind of goes up and down, as does our feed requirements. So you can see our daily feed was 180 last time. Now we're up to 215 per day, which is just crazy to me. That's a lot of food to keep up with. Almost 10 million liters of food in a year for that batch of cows. This one being younger, they're not eating as much yet. And then this group of cows is starting to rise as well. So we've got lots of feeding we're going to have to keep doing, but I think we're just keeping in front of the slurry here now. We can keep unloading into this while we're moving the time forward. And I'm going to bounce ahead to 6 a.m. now. And we'll take a look at how much money we're making off of just 500 of our 1,500 cows. And there we go. We're making $216,000 off of those cows, which is amazing. And you can see we kept the slurry going the whole time I was fast forwarding there. We unloaded another, I don't even know, but 30+% of this ginormous tanker, which is great because we're still producing a crazy amount of slurry here every day. However, with that extra money that we just managed to get, we're going to take a look at our existing leases. I want to see if I can purchase another piece of equipment. This one's a bit too expensive yet, but we've got a few trailers here that we could get. This cart, has been doing us well. We might as well pick that up, and maybe I can get this conveyal. This has been for hauling our lime around. Yeah, we'll go ahead and grab that as well. And maybe we can come in and pick up a corn head. Yeah, we've got the money for that one. That should start dropping our lease prices down drastically. And now that we're into November, I'm just going to fast forward into the daylight. I hate sitting in the dark here just a bit while we take a look at the rest of the stuff on the farm here. You'll notice, I think, that our money is still going up. The BGA is selling our products as we move. We're getting a little bit of energy prices from those. And our feed is holding together strong here. If I look at the production chains, the Digestate is starting to stack up. So the real question is going to be, after I convert a lot of this slurry into Digestate, are we going to be able to keep up with spreading this Digestate out on our fields or not? The grass doesn't need a whole lot, but it does use a little bit every cutting. And then we'll have to figure out if our cornfields are going to take a lot of that. We did burn through the rest of the chaff. We're running low on silage in the harvest store as well now from making all of that TMR up. So we're definitely sitting in a good spot once we get into spring here. I'm just taking a quick double check at our materials here. Soybeans is the only crop we have to sell, which we're going to wait until the summer to do. And I do see we've got some hay on here, 9,000. That sounds like we've got one hay bale floating around in one of the fields here somewhere. So we're going to have to go track that down. I'm not sure where it would be. So we're going to just, I guess, cheat a little bit here and hop into flight mode and see if we can go locate this one missing bale in all of our grass fields here. Something tells me it's going to be in these fields that we just cut. You can see the grass we got seeded grass now here in this field that we drilled. That was why we were trying to do it in October there, so that as we get into the spring, we'll have grass ready to go pretty early on. Well, I'm not finding this bale anywhere. I guess the last thing I should check is just to make sure that I didn't leave a bale in this storage. Nope, I don't see it. So I'm not sure where that bale is. I know there's a mod that'll show bales on the map for you, and we might have to install that at some point just to track down this one missing bale. It's going to drive me nuts that we've got one that's missing here. However, I'm not going to waste a whole bunch more time on this. I don't think today. It's one bale, and we're not that desperate for feed, so we're going to just keep trucking here. I guess I should have paid a little more attention. These missed little corners are going to drive me nuts when we're out here mowing the grass on this field, but it is what it is. We're going to just move on with time, and I'm going to start fast forwarding the clock here to get us into spring, since there's just not a lot going on here in the winter time on this particular farm. So in case anyone is curious here, I am moving the time forward one day at a time, and we're in November 3rd, so I've only moved ahead a couple of days, and I've been able to continue paying down all of these leased items. This is the last one that we've got. Each one that I bought just made it that much easier the next day to pay down more. We're now going to be able to finally start paying down that $3 million loan, which is great. By spring, we should have enough money to do some upgrades. I'm still moving slurry into this thing. It's been keeping up with processing it, but I'm going to have to start selling off some Digestate to make room for more slurry at some point here. As you can see, we're starting to get full on the slurry again. We're at 850, 900 across most of these, and I just delivered our last load of pre-mixed TMR into the barns here. So now we're officially in a race against spring. We've got to get to spring and see all of this grass grow so we can start making more feed. I think we're going to have plenty of silage to keep making TMR until we get to having another corn chopping. But the hay to get this TMR going is where I start to get worried. We're doing all right, but at these kind of rates, 215,000 liters of food per day, that means I've got, what, 4 days left in here? We're going to have some serious problems pretty soon here, and that's going to be long before we get into the spring months where we're going to be able to cut more hay. So we're probably going to end up having to buy hay in bulk. I'm not sure how that's going to go, but we'll figure it out here. I know a bale of hay is something like $1,000 or something, almost $1,500. So we'll worry about that problem when it happens, but I am starting to stress out again about this feed stuff once again. Well, we're back here in the fourth week of November. I'll be honest, this is not what I thought this episode was going to be about, but it appears that we've completely filled up the production building here. So we are going to have to start selling off this Digestate in order to keep pushing our manure through this, which is great. But the other problem we have is, oh my goodness, are these cows creating an enormous amount of manure here. You can see we're already almost full again here, and this pen and in this pen. So I think, while we are waiting for things to kind of get resolved here, I'm going to have to haul that Digestate up to sell it, and that's going to be our best bet. In order to do that, I need to get the slurry out of this tank, and I can't really get the slurry out of this tank unless we take that up to a sell point and sell it. So we're going to sneak on in here. We bumped that fence a little bit. And top off the slurry tank. I am still in unrealistic mode, but there's just no way I'm going to be able to keep up with this manure with a smaller trailer. In fact, with how much slurry we've got, I'm so tempted to buy another one of these so I can have both semis hauling this stuff up to town. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to take a look now at the list. Let's see here. Digestate looks like it sells for a flat 24 cents at all three of these. We've got Rudy's Feed Store, always seems to be the easiest to get in and out of. And then Patterson Grain Export is a slight step above Rudy's Feed Store. It's just a lot harder to get in and out of. And it looks like our biogas plant is supposedly buying this at 24 cents, but that's not actually happening. Well, I'm going to let this thing get topped off. We're going to do a run out of each of these. If I look here, we're starting to drain the slurry out of here. We're going to get at least one full load of slurry out of each of these. And we're going to get a load of Digestate out of this and kind of see how we're doing here. I really want to get a Digestate load out first after we get this emptied out, though, just so I can keep producing in this building. I guess there's no reason to leave this active until we get it going again. It's spending money on running the production point. Not that it's that much money. And you can see here we're almost to puberty. We're going to start making a lot more money. But with no more TMR in the barns, this feed rate is dropping dangerously quick. It's really got me worried. And this is a lot of slurry, so you can see it's not exactly filling our trailer that quickly. In fact, that just tells me we definitely do need to get another one of these going. Let me just borrow a few bucks. I don't even remember what this thing costs, so I'm just going to borrow. I hope that's enough. We're going to come down here. It's in miscellaneous, and we're just going to buy another one. 48-foot tanker. The unrealistic mode, you can see it's just huge by comparison. Special editions, I like this black one for our manure. We're gonna get all the illumination, and I think I put a back fenders on this. We're just gonna make these look the same. And yeah, it's not that expensive of a trailer, which is nice. $33,000. There we go. We are all filled up here. I'm gonna get this guy moving up to town. I'm not really looking to make a fortune on this stuff, but given how desperate our food situation is and the fact that I'm gonna probably have to start buying bales pretty soon here, I do want to get our money's worth out of it. So I'm gonna send this guy up, and we're gonna go ahead and grab the other semi here and see about running a manure trailer with this guy. We'll go ahead and get the Digestate going on this semi trailer just to get the production point moving forward again. See if I can sneak around all of our trailers here, our miscellaneous trailer parking lot. And it's only what, 3 in the afternoon. It's starting to feel a mighty dark for 3 in the afternoon. I know it's winter, but this is seeming like a bit much. I'd expect the sun to be just a little bit higher still. There we go, all hooked up. And I do always have to get the covers opened on this thing. I'm trying to remember what button I've got that mapped to. I thought it was Z, but Z does not seem to be opening my covers right now. Let's see, and where do I get the Digestate out of this thing is the other question. I'm guessing it's that part over on the side here. Well, we're gonna give it a shot. Come right on over here. And I think this is one of those situations where my controls got changed at some reason. Yep, open, close, covered never works on N. It conflicts with other things. So I'm gonna save these controls. And then if I push Z, I can indeed open the covers. And now we can start loading this Digestate out, which means we're gonna need to create a little bit of a driveway over here at some point to facilitate loading trailers and stuff. Maybe flatten this out a bit. This is a dangerous angle for this particular truck. Once we get him on the road again here, we can do a little bit of landscaping. Now, I know this auto drive course is not optimized for dumping a big trailer like this up here at the sell point, so we're gonna see how this works. I don't even know if it's the same point to drop off the liquid manure here. Doesn't exactly seem like the kind of sell point that would take this kind of stuff, but alas, that was where it was available to be dumped on the map, so we're going to take advantage of it. And I'm just going to let the auto drive worker do its thing here. I want to see if it's capable of even making this turn. It's going to be tight. It did open the covers. I don't know if it's going to start dumping here or not. Doesn't look like it, so we're going to go ahead and take over. And there we go. We just got to pull forward a little bit more. So it is going to take it here, which is awesome. I'll be curious to see what a full load is going to sell for. I know people have been telling me I should just be selling it for a while now. The enhanced animal mod, though, is really skewing all of the numbers on our animals, though. The insane amounts of feed is one thing, but then the increase in the byproduct as well as the amount of well, the byproducts, right? The milk and the slurry, the products and the byproducts, I guess. That has been an insane increase as well. So I don't know how I feel about all this. I feel like we're making just way too much money in a given day right now with the enhanced animal mod turned on. I'm half tempted to go back to having that removed and just taking our original feed and money values, because we were doing pretty good with those as well. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Should we just keep the enhanced animal mod on here and make a ridiculous amount of money to fund the ridiculous amount of hay and silage we're going to have to get running here in the coming year to keep the farm moving? Or should we go back to the pre-mod install state where I just uninstall that and we need less feed and we make less money, but things are just kind of chilling and doing their thing? I don't know. You guys let me know. Should we leave enhanced animal system installed or not? And here we go, finally about done selling this first load for $36,500. That's a lot of money for a load of slurry, especially when it feels like I'm gonna generate about that much slurry every day. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this guy headed back up to the yard. We're gonna get another load, and I suppose we should check in on this. We've gotten enough digestate out of this that I can reactivate it and get it to start producing more, but we're far from filling up the semi and getting it out of here. Oh my goodness, this is taking forever. I know we've got an unrealistic capacity set up on this, but if I didn't have the unrealistic capacity configured on these trailers, I would be hauling loads upon loads upon loads for many, many days before we'd be able to move on and do something else. So I'm gonna keep these mods installed. I think at some point you have to forego a little bit of realism to get a quality of life improvement on gameplay. Much like we increase the capacity on this VGA, I think I'm okay with having a little bit more capacity to cut down on the amount of repetition we have to do here on the farm. And it looks like this semi got back up to the yard just as my other one finished filling here. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one draining some slurry from the most full tank, because that's going to take a while. And then I'll start that other semi off to town, and we're just going to be rinsing and repeating on keeping this manure moving for a little while. I'm really hoping we can at least get through the month of December after I get 2 more tankers out of here without having to sit and have the clock essentially paused to avoid losing a bunch of material. I know we're kind of min-maxing here, but again, I think we're going to end up using a lot of that money to fund our feed problems here shortly. So we're going to leave this guy to fill. I think the manure does fill a little bit faster than the digestate was, and I'm going to try and just spin this guy around on the hill here without getting stuck. There we go. And we're going to send him right up to the same fill point for the digestate. I know they were all the same, and Rudy's has just been the easiest for us to get in and out of. So here we go. Rudy's feed store. See you in a bit, pal. So we're coming up on unloading our first round of digestate here. I was kind of curious to see. It's right about the same amount of money, which is what the menu showed it would be. But, you know, I've been sitting here watching progress bars load and unload for quite some time today. Figured we'd check in again, and it's going to be real easy to just keep moving this guy back and forth. We're going to move him back up to the BGA though. I think I'm going to have one guy stay focused on moving the slurry out of the BGA, and the other guy is going to move another couple of rounds of the slurry up to the sell points. I've been keeping it on half time here, so we're not yet pulling any of the slurry through this, but I am starting to make a dent in our slurry backlog here. So I've got 2 pens that are now down into the yellow at least. And so I think if I can get just one more full load of slurry out of the cow pens, we'll be in a good enough spot to start moving the clock forward again. And for anyone who's curious, at Patterson Grain here to dump the slurry, it's actually the grain dump point for the slurry. I was expecting it to be that same bale dump area right over here, but nope, we're gonna dump it right into the same grids that we're getting the grain through, so I'm sure that's real sanitary. We have continued hauling here for quite some time. We're now into December and we've got snow on the ground, which is gonna start causing me some concerns because the snow does stack up on this map a little bit. So if it keeps snowing, we're gonna have to get some snow removal equipment on the farm finally to be able to get around back here, I think. We haven't really purchased anything like that yet, but I'm gonna kind of try and just keep going as long as we can here without doing that. I've been keeping my eye on things. We've gotten some loads of Digestate out of here, so the BGA's up and running again. I'm going to actually dump our next load of slurry into the BGA, and if we just take a look here, we're ticking through the slurry. I'm emptying of this tank right now, actually. Our food is continuing to go down. In January, though, I think these cows are finally going to start making some money, too. We're keeping ahead on these other ones. This is starting to catch up, but look at this feed. We're down to 211,000 feed in the barn, and we've only got about one more day of feed. That means at 203 per day. So we're going to keep our eye on this, but we're going to have to start buying some feed remotely. We'll probably buy a whole bunch of bales and get them delivered here and see what we can do to keep up with the feed production. However, I think we're going to wait until next episode to do that. I'm kind of curious to hear from all of you that are watching on what you think, if we should keep moving with this enhanced animal system or not. Now that I've got these really large semi-tankers, we're able to start getting ahead on this slurry situation, I feel like. And I could always just start ignoring the slurry too. It feels like kind of a waste given that it's one of the 2 main byproducts here out of our dairy cows. But we could just start ignoring it as well and using only what we need to get Digestate and keep the manure spreader going in the spring here. I'm not really sure. Let me know in the comments, like I said earlier in the episode, what you think we should do with the enhanced animal system mod or the manure situation in general. And I think next episode we'll be dealing with this feed crisis and getting into our spring planting, which is going to come with purchasing some upgraded equipment. Either way, we've invested our time. Lots of effort has gone into keeping the animals going thus far with the enhanced animal system, so I don't feel too bad about taking that little bit of extra money that we got from that. You can see I'm sitting on $337,000, and that's a combination of selling the slurry and running the BGA and getting our milk proceeds each day. So I'm just going to pay this down here a ways. Looks like we're going to get to just shy of $2 million of debt, just a little bit more of it actually. But you can see our daily expenses compared to where we were at back in August. We were burning through money left and right, and everything started to turn around here as we've gotten more cows going, and we're making a lot more money here. Our milk sales, you can see, compared to what it was before enhanced animal system, we were at like 157 to 170. Now we're at 400, so we are getting about double the money. Actually, no, we're here. We're getting way more than double the money on all of that, but we're using a proportional amount of feed as well. And you can see for the month of November where our BGA ran nonstop, that biogas plant income was another $400,000 on top of everything else, which again, I'm not feeling too bad about. That's the equivalent of selling off our slurry. And you can see here above that line is the slurry and digestate that we've been selling off as time ticks by here. So we're doing pretty good. We're in a great financial position, and I think this is going to be a great place to wrap things up for today. I won't do a whole lot off camera between this and the next episode until I see what you guys have to say in the comments about this one. That's all for today. Keterk out.